Oh my God. Huh? They shot it up. Hey, blood, he dead. Who's dead? Hey, blood, from the driver dead, bro. Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah. This girl got shot outside the car. And it went that many shots a night. That shit was up close, personal. Somebody made that girl come back outside, man. Stop playing with me like y'all dumb.
That is a woman going back and forth with a man on a live stream in the middle of the night. About 30 minutes after she logged off, somebody was already waiting for her outside her own house. She never made it back through the front door. Watch this next one.
They put me on where they put me in the ambulance truck. They put me in the bed, put me in the ambulance truck. So I'm just asking them the whole time, like, am I gonna die? Am I gonna be okay? Please just tell me, am I gonna die?
This is the same woman you just heard arguing, except this clip is from before, back when she survived getting shot the first time and thought God had spared her for a reason. Before we get into her story, let us start with this one, out of Chicago, because it shows you exactly how fast a lie can travel when a rapper dies. To understand what happened in Chicago in the last week of October 2025, you have to understand that in this city, there is a whole world where a song, a caption, or a location tag can get you buried. This is the drill scene, and in the drill scene, your reputation and your body are the same thing. A location drop is treated like a death warrant. That is the water these two people were swimming in, and it is why, when they both died 48 hours apart, half the internet decided one of them had sold out the other, with zero proof. Let us start with the woman, because she is who got blamed, and she is the one this whole video is really about. Her name was Ariana Bosny, 26 years old, an aspiring Chicago rapper who went by G. Ari.
I know he told you I'm the biggest, stacking all this blue cheese. I can't have my way, I'm cutting it off, act like you never knew me. Yeah, now who the goofy? I just took a flight to Cali for a day, picked up a two-piece on. No, these hoes for real, I just be knowing they coochie goofy.
She was from the South Side, she was a mother, and she was trying to carve out her own lane in music with songs like the diss-heavy track Want All the Smoke. G. Ari was not a big famous star yet, but she was hungry, carried herself boldly, and put her son and her motherhood right in her videos, alongside all that street energy. In this scene, that bold, unbothered energy is exactly the kind of thing that makes strangers online feel like they know your whole life and feel entitled to write the ending of it. There is one more thing about being a woman in that world, because drill is built around men and their wars, and a woman who raps hard, carries herself hard, and is tied to a man on the wrong side of a beef becomes an easy target twice over. That is the setup she was standing in before a single shot was ever fired. Here is the piece that mattered once things went bad. G. Ari was reportedly tied by her child to a rival Southside rapper known as 757 BA, and that man was already locked up. He had been arrested back in 2024 and charged in a separate murder from 2017. Her personal life put her on the opposite side of a fence from some very serious people. And in Chicago, that fence is not a metaphor. It is who lives and who does not. Now the man on the other side of this story. His name was Devonshi Collier, 35, and the world knew him as THF Bezu, sometimes just Zoo. If G. Ari was still coming up, Bezu was a whole institution. He grew up in the Cabrini Green projects. He was a longtime affiliate of Lil Durk's Only the Family collective, and he was a close friend of the late King Von. Listen to him tell you where he came from in his own words.
Cabrini Green.
Yeah, I was born in the Greens. I grew up in the Greens. You know what I'm saying? I got a name out there too. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got a chance to get in the field, but I was just doing bad shit. Little baby kid shit, you feel me? I came southbound when I was like mid-teens. My OG always been out south, so I've been knowing all my brothers that's from out south since I was a puppy, you feel me? My grandma still stayed up north, and my OG moved southbound when they knocked our building down, you feel me? So she been out there damn near all our life, you know?
Bezu did not have an easy life, and he did not pretend to. He told a story about a brother of his who died young, shot in the head at home, and how he had to be the one to wash his brother's body and get him ready for the services.
You know, he was in the house, the gun accidentally went off and shot in the head or whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's how he passed away. So like, wasn't nobody in my family as far as the immediate family who was strong enough to bathe them and wash them up and get them prepared for the services or whatever. So like, that experience stuck with me for the rest of my life. Like, I never experienced doing all that myself, but I had to get them out of the freezer at the morgue and wash the blood out his dreads and shit. Put cotton swabs where the bullet hole came, the entrance and the out. Like I had to wash him up. Like I had to experience it, man. My right hand man, got it. You know what I'm saying?
By his own count, he spent more than a decade of his life locked up on and off, starting as a juvenile. He was arrested in 2014 at Lil Durk's home in connection with a 2009 murder, and he ultimately beat it. He beat case after case and treated it like a badge. He was so used to the police that he knew the game was cold. And one of his biggest songs came directly out of beating a case. He and King Von both walked away from murder charges around the same time, celebrated it, and turned it into a record. That is the world in one clip. Two young men beat murder cases, get flown out to celebrate, and turn it into a hit. It is also why Bezu is a complicated man to tell a clean story about, because in that same last big interview, he got reflective. He talked about being tired of the senseless side of the streets, about wanting to steer kids away from the same life. Listen.
The senseless kids, the little kids, the women, the old people getting. As far as the streets, man, the streets gonna be the streets. That shit gonna clean itself up. You get what I'm saying? If it go this, if a do call peace, bro, it might be peace for so on forth. Ain't nothing wrong with putting the effort. Don't happen overnight. You get what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with putting effort in. You know what I'm saying? But like, we gotta go back to the world wars and shit when the war's been going on, gang. Like this shit has been going on periodically with society anyway. You feel me? It's always pushing this. Black on black crime. Half of these niggas that's out here calling themselves sliders and drillers don't even know the beef probably sparked over some that they don't even know about. They just inherit their homies beef because they done lost older people in the generation and don't even know what they lost them over, gang. Like, what gonna be what? Shit gonna get kicked off any blue moon, you know what I'm saying?
By the time of that interview, Bezu had buried more people than most of us ever will. He lost the brother he had to wash and prepare with his own two hands. He lost his grandmother while he was sitting in a cell. And in one of the heaviest parts of his whole story, he lost a young daughter, a baby, in an incident he never got real answers about while he was locked up. He carried every bit of that, and it is a big reason he spoke the way he did, about kids and about pointless killing. He was not preaching from a church pew. He was talking as a man who had already paid for it, over and over. He and King Von were tight in a way that went back years, before either one of them was a rapper. Von was the little brother, the storyteller, and when Von was killed in 2020, it took something out of Bezu that never came back. That is the thread running through this whole Chicago world. Everybody in it has already lost somebody, which is exactly why nobody in it can seem to let anything go. For all his history, in his last long sit-down, Bezu said he wanted to reach the youngest kids before the streets got to them first. Watch the advice he left behind, because it hits different now.
The streets don't love no man. If you're gonna do this shit, don't hide 1 foot in and 1 foot out, man. If you in school, stand on top of your business first. That's law, y'all, man. Stand on top of them grades, graduate, and be able to try to hide anything, any type of backup, gang. All that dropping out shit, all that getting locked up as a puppy shit, that shit I did, man. I don't want to follow my footsteps just to feel like they want a name or they want to be powerful, man. You could be powerful with knowledge, man. I just want all y'all to focus on whatever y'all is and do it at y'all best, whatever it is that y'all focus on, man. Don't half step whatever you're doing. I don't give a fuck if it's rapping, if it's drawing, flipping, thugging in public, whatever you're doing, be your best at it, man. And don't let no bitch take your pace. That's all I gotta tell the shorties, man. Pursue all your dreams. Stand on top of business, man. Don't let the business stand on you, man. Ain't no question.
So that. Any shout outs or closing remarks you would like to leave the people?
Shout out to my family, man. Yeah, that love me. Y'all know it's peaceful with the Whopper, man. I'm chilling. I'm cool. In my bag, man. Don't motherfucker get my lane, I ain't gonna run them over. That's it, that's all. So no.
Any upcoming music? What's the one you just dropped? The Murder Story?
I just dropped Murder Story, man. That motherfucker probably like 178,000 in 2 weeks. You feel me? Really no promotion, no marketing, just drop that bitch on, you know what I'm saying? They've been waiting on me, but you know what I'm saying? I've been holding back, y'all, because I was fighting a legal situation on the band, and I ain't want to be shooting no videos inside my household and shit, you know what I'm saying? So I was really waiting to get up off this shit. Now that I'm free, man, I'm gonna be flooding y'all with this shit, putting this shit in y'all face, man. We unstoppable and can't be with, man. Ain't no question. TH up a little law. Who else for this rap that's in the building?
So you have these two people, both anchored in the same violent, tangled Chicago rap world. A woman on the come-up, tied by her son to one side of a deadly rivalry, and a veteran who survived everything the streets could throw at him and, at least on camera, was talking like a man who wanted peace. In the last days of October 2025, both of their names would trend for the worst possible reason, and the internet would decide the woman was the reason the man was dead. That decision came fast, it came loud, and it came with basically nothing to back it up. Here is how the 48 hours actually went, in order, so you can see for yourself how thin the story people ran with really was. It started with Bezu. On October 25, 2025, around 3 in the afternoon, he was in a parking lot in the Little Village neighborhood in the 3100 block of South St. Louis Avenue. He was there with 2 other men, and by some accounts, they were picking up car parts. Then a vehicle pulled up, at least one gunman got out, and they opened fire. This was not a spray and pray from a moving car. Police recovered around 20 rifle casings and 19 9mm casings, with 5 vehicles hit by gunfire.
Bezu just got shot, man. He just got shot on the southwest side of Chicago, man. He was shot in the abdomen, died amongst one of the other members, and a family member. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know if basically Bezu and Critical, or he fighting for his life, or it's the other 2, but Bezu definitely had got was basically 100 that was basically fired at them, so that was a switch. Basically what was reported was somebody had spotted Bezu and them, you know what I'm saying, and bent the block and came back around and up fire on them, you know what I'm talking about?
Bezu was struck in the abdomen and torso, rushed to Mount Sinai Hospital, and did not survive. 2 other men were wounded. That amount of firepower, at close range, in a spot he was not known to hang, tells you this was planned. Somebody knew where he would be and set up on him in advance. Remember that word, planned, because it is the whole ballgame for the rumor that came next. His own reputation is part of why this hit landed the way it did. In his world, Bezu had a lot of history and a lot of enemies. Listen to the street reporters, even while sending prayers, say the quiet part out loud about how a man collects that many people who want him gone.
That's why it's not good to diss, because if you out here dissing, you know what I'm talking about, you don't know where that fire can come from.
Bezu lived his whole adult life a single step from exactly this. Watch officers pull him out of a car on one of his arrests, gun charges hanging over his head, and watch how calm and razor sharp he stays through the whole thing.
I ain't going nowhere. Bro, my name's Confronts, bro. I ain't got nothing to have it, bro. All I want to do is talk to you.
Get in the car. We're going to talk in the station. Right now, it's either going to be a misdemeanor or a felony. How are you going to act, bro? How are you going to act? Get in the car. And we'll talk in the station.
His death also landed inside a bigger, sadder pattern. He was tied to Lil Durk's circle, and that circle has been bleeding for years, with King Von killed in 2020 and others lost before and after. By the time Bezu went, people were openly calling it a curse on everyone close to that camp, with Durk himself locked up on federal charges and unable to say a word in public. Inside his own set, the grief was heavy and the numbness was just as real, with one affiliate speaking about how desensitized to death this whole generation has gotten. And at the very same time, across the city, rivals were online laughing and toasting to it. That split, real mourning sitting right next to real celebration, is the drill scene in a nutshell, and it is the pressure cooker GRE's name got tossed into. Then, about 48 hours later, came the second death, and this is where it all got twisted. On October 27th, in the late afternoon, GRE was sitting at a stoplight near 76th and Vincennes in the Greater Grand Crossing area when a vehicle pulled alongside her Chevy Cruze and opened fire. Her young son was in the car with her, physically unharmed, but imagine what that child watched.
It's a miracle that baby was not shot. It's a miracle.
She was hit multiple times and pronounced dead at the University of Chicago Medical Center. A 26-year-old woman shot down in front of her own baby at a red light. 2 rappers, 2 days, 1 city, and the internet did what the internet always does. Within 24 hours, the story hardened into a clean little movie. The claim was that GRE had dropped Bezu's location, tagged the junkyard where he got hit, and that her own death was the get-back. It spread through blogs like Sandra Rose and street pages like Daily Chirac, and by October 28th, it was everywhere, racking up thousands of likes. People reposted it like it was gospel. Now here is where you have to slow all the way down and actually think, because the story falls apart the second you push on it. First, nobody ever produced a screenshot, not a single one. For a claim built entirely on the idea that she posted a location, there was never one post shown, even after people combed her socials for it. Second, the man her name was being tied to through her child, 757BA, was already sitting in jail on that separate murder case, with no way to order anything from the street. Third, and this is the big one, Bezu's killing was a planned ambush. The people who hit him had set up on his exact spot before he ever got there. That kind of intel does not come from a location tag a woman supposedly posts a couple hours earlier. That comes from watching a man for weeks. There is also the human cost that got completely buried while people argued. A little boy watched his mother get shot to death at a red light, and then had to grow up hearing the entire internet call her a rat. The reason the lie moved so fast is baked into this culture. In drill, dropping somebody's location is treated as one of the lowest things a person can do, basically a death sentence, so the accusation was juicy enough that people wanted it to be true. Wanting it to be true is not the same thing as it being true. The timeline was too tight, the ambush was too planned, and the one man who could have supposedly pulled strings was already behind bars. The street reporters who actually cover this scene came out and killed the rumor themselves. The channels with the most credibility on the ground said flat out that the ambush had nothing to do with Ari. Some of them even floated a completely different theory, pointing at other people around her rather than her, though that too is unproven. Chicago police, for their part, have investigated the two deaths as separate homicides with no official link, and as of the reporting, there have been no arrests in either one. So a young mother got shot in front of her son, and on top of that, thousands of strangers spent her first days in the ground calling her a snitch who got what she deserved, based on a screenshot that never existed. That is the first time in this video the internet convicted the wrong person. It will not be the last, and the next one is even worse, because it dragged on for over a year. Now we go back down to Alabama, to the woman you saw at the very top, and this one is going to feel eerily familiar, because once again there is a live stream, a rumor, and a rush to name the wrong person before anyone has proof.
Birmingham police asking for your help to find whoever this young woman, Mia Nixon, back in January. Investigators say her family is hurting and pushing for justice in her case.
Our Tristan Rupert is live at 5 and on your side, talking with investigators about this case. Tristan, what can you tell us?
Police believe Mia Nixon was targeted, actually, and they say community help could be critical in them solving this case. I spoke with Birmingham police officer Truman Fitzgerald earlier today. He says detectives have looked into every single lead they could really concerning this case, and that a tip from the community could be critical in really cracking it wide open. Now, Officer Fitzgerald says Nixon was beloved, talented, and really excelling in the hair and nail field. He says Birmingham police won't stop searching for the person responsible for her death, and stresses no matter the information, you need to come forward if you know something.
Nothing's too small. We know the streets are talking. We know Mia was extremely popular, but our detectives need that information. So anything you have, please call that into Crime Stoppers.
Remember, Crime Stoppers is a fully anonymous process. No matter what your information is, they never know your identity. And if you do provide information that leads to an arrest in this case, you could be eligible for a $5,000 reward.
Her name was Mia Nixon, 21 years old, from Birmingham. And I want to be careful and fair to her here, because there are two Mayas in this story. There is the one the people who loved her actually knew, and there is the one the internet built after she could no longer speak for herself. Let us start with the real one, because she deserves that much. The real Mia was a nail tech, and she was good at it. She started doing nails at 17 while she was still in high school, taught herself, struggled at first to build a clientele, and grew it through practice, discount pricing, and pure grind.
Here I am, all packed up, ready to go. Yeah, boom. So here go Irene to Mia. She was getting her hair done too because it was her birthday, so she had the real pepper experience. So yeah, here I go, just...
In an interview she gave back before any of this happened, she called doing nails her safe place, her creative outlet, and she talked about leaving regular jobs to work for herself and chase a cosmetology license. She was building a real brand, had dreams of opening her own salon, and even the Birmingham police officer who later begged the public for help described her the exact same way the people who loved her did. He called her beloved, talented, and said she was excelling in the hair and nail field. There is also a piece of her story that is almost hard to believe. According to accounts told through her own social media, Mia had already survived being shot once before this. The story is that bullets tore through her car, that one round left her deaf in one ear and blind in one eye, and that she had to relearn simple things and rebuild her whole hustle. I want to flag honestly that these survival details come mostly from retellings of her own posts rather than from official police records, so treat the exact specifics as her account. But the raw audio of her talking about it is real, and it is gut-wrenching when you know how her story actually ends.
Okay, this is story time about how I got So I was talking to this boy. We was talking for like a couple months or whatever. So he used to always be in my car, like ride around in my car. We used to always be together, riding around and stuff like that. So this day he told me to follow this dude so he can buy some pills. So we followed the dude, go buy the pills, so we get done buying the pills. It's me, him, and his homeboy in the car. So soon as we like get to the red light, we was at the red light, like all we had to do was just turn around and boom, you at the red light from where we was. So we get to the red light. He trying to put the location in my phone so we can go to where we was finna go. So it was but me, I didn't think that they was like at us, because while they were driving up. So when they were far back, it just sounded like it was somewhere else. So when the bullets started coming through the car, that's when when the bullets started coming through the car, I hit the gas, but one of the bullets hit me. It went from the back of my head through my ear and across my face. So that, like, I heard a loud pop, and then, like, the ringing that you hear in your ear, that's what I heard. Like, my ear just started ringing real loud, and I just blacked out. So once I blacked out, I crashed into a tree. So when I hit the tree, I went like this, like that's what woke, like, kind of came, let me come back to country. So I woke up, and instantly I just opened the door, and then his homeboy that was in the back seat, he jumped out, and I got out, but I instantly fell to the ground, and he was like, "Mia, get up," and I couldn't get up. Like, I don't know how long I was on the ground. Like, I just was unconscious.
That is the real Mia, a young woman who got a second chance and was grateful for it out loud. The trauma from that first shooting was no small thing. According to the accounts told through her own posts, she had to relearn how to eat, how to talk, and how to walk, and she still came back to her chair and her clients. On the anniversary of nearly dying, she wrote about feeling closer to God and being certain she had a bigger purpose to serve. Most people who live through something like that steer far away from anything dangerous for the rest of their lives. That is exactly what makes the online version of her story so loud, because it claims she went right back toward the fire. Now here is the other version, the one the internet cooked up in the days after she died. And this is where you have to keep your guard all the way up, because almost none of it is confirmed. After she was killed, many pages started calling her Birmingham's setup queen. In Alabama street slang, a setup queen is a woman who lures men, usually men flashing money or status, into a spot where a crew is waiting to rob them. The claim was that behind the nails and the pretty pictures, Mia was living a double life, and that she had made dangerous enemies. There were even secondhand claims that she got arrested on a drug trafficking charge and posted a big bond, which people online used to say the money did not add up. And the ugly thing about a nickname like that is that it does its damage whether it is true or not. Once the internet decided Mia lived a double life, every fact about her got bent to fit it. The flashy pictures, the confidence, the money people claimed she had, all of it read as proof to a crowd that already wanted proof. Nobody who actually loved her recognized that version of her. Her family begged people not to drag her name through unverified rumors and to let the police do their job. By then, though, the story had already left the station and there was no calling it back. That is the sad part about how the internet remembers her. Type her name in, and you do not get the self-taught teenager who turned nails into a whole business, or the young woman who came back from a bullet to the head and had to learn to walk again. You get a nickname and a Facebook argument. A whole life got flattened into one rumor, and that rumor pointed at the wrong man for over a year. And sitting right at the center of that street talk is a live stream. The widely repeated online story is that in the early morning hours of January 10th, 2024, Mia went live on Facebook and got into a heated argument with a man known on the streets as Youngster, who accused her of setting up one of his friends, and that the live ended roughly 30 minutes before she was shot. That is the clip you heard at the very top of this video, and I have to keep hammering on this, because it is the whole trap of this case. Police never referenced any Facebook Live, any argument, or anyone named Youngster when they worked this case. Not once, in any release, or any public appeal. Even inside the online story, it never stayed simple. The same man everyone blamed hopped online swearing he was innocent, questioning the timeline, saying he was being set up by rumor, the same way people said Mia set up others.
If I did it, them phones gon' ping. I got 3 phones, nigga. I got 3 phones. Them all gonna tell my direct location, where I was, what time, all that shit, nigga. Nigga, I know how the police play. If I kill somebody, nigga, they'll be on my trail, nigga. They'll want these phones, nigga. They'll want all that. Fuck you talking about, nigga. Stop playing with me. I ain't no rookie to this shit, right? Just like the police come get you for robberies and everything else. Don't y'all think they would've came and got me? Don't y'all think they would've got these phones and seen my location and seen where I was? Them folks just surrounded the projects and got my homeboy. Why the fuck they ain't showing my picture? Saying where he at? Nigga, the police just surrounded us. Ain't no way this girl still sitting in the car. 45 minutes after a lie, 30 minutes after a lie. So you think this girl just sitting outside? You think she just sitting outside in the car?
You saying she finna be outside her car waiting on us to pull up?
That's what I'm saying.
This girl got outside her
outside the car. And when that many shots a night, that was up close, nigga, personal. Nigga. Somebody made that girl come back outside, man. Stop playing with me like y'all dumb.
Then somebody else jumped on and threw the blame right back at a different circle.
You the one was arguing with the girl, you trying to throw it on somebody else. You the one was mad about those sis. Well, yeah, man. But I ain't said a fact. Several facts. Which one of your homeboys she set up? Cause we already know that's you on them fake pages talking about what somebody set up. That y'all ain't set none of y'all set up. Then, now I'm finna throw a real quote. Hey, Petey, do you know Youngster the Dunn said y'all did this, boy? Do you know Youngster the Dunn is going around Birmingham telling people y'all can't wait from Arkadelphia to Crestwood to do something like that? Told you, bro, it's a pattern with them, bro. When them commit crimes, them go to throwing it on everybody else. It's them same group, and every time when them, it's rarely when they strike, but when they do strike, y'all don't see it, it's always somebody else did.
It turned into a mud fight with no real proof on any side, which is what happens when a whole community runs on street talk and a code of silence instead of facts. Keep that in your back pocket, because what the police actually found points somewhere completely different, and it makes everybody who convicted Youngster look foolish. Here is what is not in dispute, straight from the police. In the early morning of January 10th, 2024, at about 1:45 a.m., Birmingham police responded to a person shot call in the 800 block of Greencrest Turn in the Crestwood area. They found Mia unresponsive in the driveway with a gunshot wound. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Other people were inside the home and were not hurt while the shooters fled. It was Birmingham's second homicide of the young year, and it went cold fast. Months went by with no arrest. That spring, police went public and pleaded for help, and they made one thing very clear. This was not a random drive-by. Mia was targeted.
Birmingham police asking for your help to find whoever this young woman, Mia Nixon, back in January. Investigators say her family is hurting and pushing for justice in her case.
Our Tristan Rupert is live at 5 and on your side, talking with investigators about this case. Tristan, what can you tell us?
Police believe Mia Nixon was targeted, actually, and they say community help could be critical in them solving this case. I spoke with Birmingham police officer Truman Fitzgerald earlier today. He says detectives have looked into every single lead they could really concerning this case, and that a tip from the community could be critical in really cracking it wide open. Now, Officer Fitzgerald says Nixon was beloved, talented, and really excelling in the hair and nail field. He says Birmingham police won't stop searching for the person responsible for her death, and stresses no matter the information, you need to come forward if you know something.
Nothing's too small. We know the streets are talking. We know Mia was extremely popular, but our detectives need that information. So anything you have, please call that into Crime Stoppers.
Remember, Crime Stoppers is a fully anonymous process. No matter what your information is, they never know your identity. And if you do provide information that leads to an arrest in this case, you could be eligible for a $5,000 reward.
Officer Fitzgerald and the department went back to the public again and again, put a reward of up to $5,000 on the table through Crime Stoppers, and reminded people that tips could be completely anonymous. But this is a world where a lot of folks fear retaliation more than they want justice, where a code of silence holds even when everybody swears they know what happened. So the case sat, and the internet filled the silence with a name. That one line, "The streets are talking," is exactly what the internet ran with, all the way to the wrong conclusion. And what the streets were saying was that Youngster did it. He got blamed so hard and so publicly that he got back online himself to deny it, questioning the timeline and insisting he had nothing to do with her death and was being set up by rumor. Comment sections turned into a courtroom, and thousands of people convicted a man off a live stream and a nickname. It was the exact same move Chicago pulled on GRE, just in a different accent. And then, more than a year later, the truth came in from a direction almost nobody online saw coming. In February 2025, Birmingham detectives obtained a warrant and charged a man named Damian McDaniel with intentional murder in Mia's death. It was not Youngster, and it was not anybody from the live stream. It was a name the true crime channels had never even connected to her. Damian McDaniel is a name that should make your stomach drop, because he was not just charged with Mia. Prosecutors have linked him to as many as 18 deaths across roughly 10 separate shooting incidents in the Birmingham area. On the same day they announced Mia's charge, they also charged him in the capital murder of a Birmingham firefighter and in a separate murder-for-hire killing of a UPS worker. His own background is heavy too. His father was described in reporting as a former Bloods gang leader in the Fairfield area who is serving a long federal prison sentence. And Damian himself had a prior attempted murder conviction from when he was 17 before all these new charges landed. To really feel the size of what police say he did, you have to look at the whole list. Prosecutors have tied him to 2 separate mass shootings in Birmingham. The firefighter case was an ambush at a fire station, and there was a second firefighter who survived being shot. When Mia's charge was first announced, the running total was around 14 killings. Later reporting pushed that as high as 18 deaths and more than 30 people wounded. Reporting has said that if he is convicted across the full scope of what he is accused of, he could become one of the most prolific murder defendants in modern Alabama history. There is more that fills in the picture. While he was out on probation from that old attempted murder case, prosecutors say he was caught on social media waving guns around again and again. And in December of 2024, a judge revoked his probation and sent him back to state custody. Court records also mention a history of mental health treatment and medication he had reportedly stopped taking. His cases are so tangled that the courts have been fighting over whether to combine some of them, and the whole thing has been described as potentially unlike any murder case the state has ever seen. Now hold that next to the internet's version of Mia's death. For more than a year, the online consensus was a Facebook argument and a man named Youngster. The person the state actually charged was a suspect tied to a wave of violence across the whole city. Someone whose name never came up in a single one of those videos about her. The distance between what people were certain of and what the evidence pointed to was not small, it was a canyon, and that canyon is exactly where an innocent man's reputation had to live for over a year. Mia's case is one line on a much longer and much darker list. He is the only person publicly charged in her killing. He has pleaded not guilty, and his own attorney has described him as, quote, a very gentle, kind person who does not fit the mold of someone who could do these crimes. His cases are still grinding through the courts, with trial dates set into 2027. He is presumed innocent until a jury says otherwise, and that fight still has to happen in front of 12 people. So sit with what that means. For over a year, a whole corner of the internet was 100% certain that a man from a Facebook argument murdered Mia Nixon, and the person police actually came for was someone else entirely. Someone tied to a level of violence that has nothing to do with a nail shop rumor or a bad night on a live stream. The wrong man got convicted in the court of public opinion, and it took the real system 14 months to point somewhere else. Underneath all of it is a mother who just wanted the noise to stop and her daughter to matter for who she really was. Which brings us to the most recent one, and honestly, the one that hurts the most right now. Because this family is living inside it as we speak, with no answers at all. Her name was Qualacia Barnes, 36, born and raised in Detroit, who most people online knew by her stage name, Sidity, or So Sidity. And she was not a one-lane person. She was an independent rapper with a Detroit album called Ditty of My City. with features from artists like Icewear Vezo and Babyface Ray.
When you see me out, yeah, all my bitches lit. All bad bitches on deck, take a pic. Class A Azul in the booth, taking pics. Keep looking in the mirror, goddamn, I'm getting thick. Little nigga looking icy, I can tell he think he rich.
Qualisha was the founder and CEO of her own fashion brand, So Sadidi Boutique. And on top of all that, she was an aspiring nurse on the dean's list, with only about 2 semesters left before she graduated. She had lived in the Atlanta area for about a decade, but kept her Detroit ties tight, and she was 14 weeks pregnant, planning a gender reveal, and reportedly getting ready around that time to fly out and see her sister. To her family, she was not any of the titles, she was Lele. Everything about her was self-made. She came up out of Southwest Detroit, built a name in that city's rap scene, then carried it to Atlanta and kept both worlds alive at once. Her boutique was not a hobby, but a company she registered and ran herself, selling custom fur coats, slides, heels, and the kind of glamorous fits that matched her whole brand, with a following of well over 100,000 people watching her do it. She was juggling music, a business, and nursing school all at the same time, and she was winning at all 3. On the music side, she had real Detroit connections, tracks that pulled in names from her city's scene, and people who watched her come up talked about her being on the brink of something bigger. Tributes after she died called her a real boss and a queen who touched a lot of lives, and her own cousins flooded social media saying the world took a real one. She was not a headline to the people around her. She was the funny one, the stylish one, the one everybody instantly loved, and now she is a case number with no suspect. Her bond with her sister was the center of everything. The two of them lived together, shared space, shared a whole life, and her sister has made it painfully clear she does not care about the rapper, the CEO, or the follower count. She lost her baby, plain and simple. And the timing makes it even heavier, because the family says Qualisha was getting ready to travel to see that sister and was planning a gender reveal for the child she was carrying. She was building toward the happiest chapter of her life when somebody took it. That was the person. Now comes the night it happened, and it is brutal. In the early morning of April 8, 2026, at about 1:23 a.m., Atlanta police responded to a person shot call at Springside Place Southeast. They found her in the driver's seat of her white Range Rover Sport, an SUV worth around $80,000, and it was sitting in the middle of the street. She was unresponsive with multiple gunshot wounds, and she was pronounced dead at the scene.
Police are investigating after a woman was found dead in her car. This is on Springside Place.
Atlanta News First Sarah Hammond is live this morning with the First Alert breaking news tracker at Atlanta Police Headquarters. So Sarah, what have you learned from police?
Well, that scene has now wrapped up, but we did see a tow truck take out the car that was at the center of this investigation for several hours. Atlanta police told us on the scene that when they responded to a call about a shooting at around 1:30 this morning, they found a 36-year-old woman dead in the driver's seat of her SUV.
A neighbor reported hearing 4 or 5 gunshots, followed by the sound of a car pulling off.
Gunshots, like maybe 4 or 5 gunshots, and then a car, Honda, just flew up the street. Like 20, 30 minutes later, the cops everywhere.
4 shots to the face is not a robbery gone wrong. It is a message. Her family knows that in their bones, and they have been loud about it. They believe she was specifically targeted. They believe more than one person had a hand in it, and they believe the pregnancy was somehow part of the reason. Her mother did not just want the shooter. She wanted anybody who helped make it happen held responsible too. The lead homicide investigator said it plainly, that it appears someone fired into the car and struck her several times, and that cameras, neighbors, and anonymous tips were their 3 biggest assets. Detectives started pulling doorbell and security footage from the whole block and backtracking the route her Range Rover took, trying to figure out where she came from and whether anyone was with her. In a quiet residential cul-de-sac like that, somebody's camera almost certainly caught something. Her death also did not happen in a vacuum. Within about a week and a half, Atlanta saw more than one woman shot inside her vehicle, including at least one other pregnant mother. Police have said those cases are not connected and are being investigated separately, and there is no evidence tying them together. But the timing scared the whole city and pushed even more people to speculate. Listen to how raw the public reaction got, and to how one commentator reacted to the sheer coldness of how she was killed. One detail keeps nagging at everybody who looks at this case, including her own family. Her Range Rover was found stopped in the middle of the street, not crashed, not pulled to the curb, just sitting there. To the people who loved her, that lines up with the idea that somebody was waiting, that this was planned down to the spot. Her mother has said out loud that she believes her daughter knew why this happened and that more than one person had a hand in it.
Something that causes a murder, then you need some kind, you need something. I think you need to go to jail too.
Whether that turns out to be right or wrong, the family is left carrying a grief most of us cannot imagine, mourning a daughter, a sister, and a grandchild who never got a first breath, all in one night. And of course, the internet had a theory before the sun even came up. The loudest one, all over the comments and the gossip channels, was some version of "check the baby daddy." People decided she was set up by the father of her child, maybe a married man, maybe out of jealousy over the pregnancy. Some true crime channels went further, claiming she was on her way to somebody's house and got ambushed, even claiming a horn honked right before the shots. And I have to tell you the truth, the same way I told it about G.R.E. and about Mia. None of that is confirmed. Atlanta police have not named a single suspect, a motive, or a person of interest. No name that has circulated online has any evidence behind it, and Qualisha kept her personal life almost completely private. The father of her child has never even been publicly identified. The case is wide open. So here is the twist that sets this one apart from the first two. In Chicago, the internet named G.R.E. and was wrong. In Birmingham, the internet named Youngster and was wrong. In Atlanta, the internet is doing the exact same thing all over again, pointing straight at a baby daddy nobody can even name. And the honest answer is that nobody watching this actually knows yet whether they are right or wrong, which is somehow worse, because a family is stuck in that gap with no closure. And even without a suspect for Qualisha, there is a reason the check the baby daddy instinct feels so automatic to everybody. And it is not random. It comes from real cases. And there is one in particular that shows you exactly why families and internet detectives jump straight there. I want to lay it right next to Qualisha's story on purpose, so you can see both the scary similarity and the one huge difference that matters most. Go back to October 5, 2021, in Troup County, Georgia, about an hour southwest of Atlanta. A 28-year-old woman named Akilah Ware was driving on a rural highway when another vehicle trailed her, opened fire, and left her car riddled with bullet holes before she ran off the road. She was 33 weeks pregnant, and she and her unborn child did not survive.
Gut-wrenching story out of Troup County where a pregnant 29-year-old mother of 5 was killed in what authorities believe was a drive-by shooting.
Akilah Ware's killer is still out there on the streets, and her family is desperate for answers and justice.
And Akilah was not some stranger to a hard life she could not escape. She was a registered nurse and a mother of 5, a LaGrange native who worked her way through school, loved playing softball, and was planning to buy a house and move to Columbus. She was buried on what would have been her 29th birthday. The details of that day are hard to hear. Investigators pieced together that Dargan trailed Akilah in his own car, fired round after round into hers while both cars were moving, ran her off the road, and kept going, leaving her to crash into a tree miles down the highway. When it first came in, deputies thought they were rolling up on a plain single-car accident, right up until they saw the bullet holes. The sheriff there called it very bold, very cold, and very callous, and said he could not believe somebody had killed a young mother of 5 who was carrying a baby. Under Georgia law, Dargan was charged with the killing of the unborn child on top of the murder itself. Now here is why this case matters as a mirror. The person who did it was Alonzo Dargan Jr., a 30-year-old United States Army Staff Sergeant stationed at Fort Bragg. He was Akilah's boyfriend and the father of her unborn child. He had a 12-year military career and a deployment to Afghanistan, and by every public account, no prior record at all. He grew up in the same area as Akilah. They went to school together, and he was married with kids of his own the entire time he was seeing her. He pleaded guilty in January 2023 and was sentenced to life in prison. His own wife, blindsided by both the affair and the murder, later said she could not make sense of any of it, and that no one won here, with children left on every side of it to grow up in the wreckage. Look at the overlap with Qualisha. A pregnant woman shot multiple times while sitting in the driver's seat of her own car, in Georgia, in a killing that was clearly targeted and clearly personal. That is exactly why the check the baby daddy reflex exists, and it is why Qualacia's own family suspects targeting is tied to her pregnancy. It is not always wrong, and sometimes it is exactly right, and the person closest to a pregnant woman is the one who ends her life and her baby's. But look at the one difference that matters most. In Akila's case, the connection was obvious. The evidence pointed right at the man, and he was arrested within about 48 hours. In Qualacia's case, there is still no named suspect at all, and no confirmed motive. So the precedent tells you why people suspect what they suspect, but it absolutely does not prove that they are right this time. That is the trap of every one of these stories. Now step all the way back and look at these three women together. Ariana Bosny, G.R.E., shot at a stoplight in Chicago with her son in the car, then blamed for a man's death with a screenshot that never existed. Mia Nixon, shot in her own driveway in Birmingham, while the internet convicted a man off a live stream for over a year before police charged a serial suspect nobody online had ever named. And Qualacia Barnes, shot 4 times in the face in her Range Rover while carrying a child, with a family still screaming for answers that have not come. 2 of these 3 cases are still open right now. Nobody has been convicted for G.R.E., and nobody has even been named for Qualacia. That means somebody watching this might actually know something real. Rest in peace to Ariana, to Mia, and to Qualacia, 3 women who deserved a full life and deserve better than a rumor for a headstone. If you know something about any case like these, drop a word to the right hotline so another family does not have to live in this same not knowing. And if this hits you, share it, because the more people who understand how fast a lie moves after somebody dies, the fewer innocent names get buried alongside the victims.